Good morning, everyone. Round of applause for Miami-Dade College, please. Good morning, Sharks. Thank you for being here, Miami-Dade College. My name is Marlon Hill, and I am an attorney here in Miami, Florida, and I'd like to welcome you to the 33rd Miami Broward Carnival. Bunji and Ravi and Marshall Montano. We're going to get to the 33rd back in a little bit. I'd like to introduce my good friend, also a Seminole, Florida State University. Family from Trinidad and Tobago. She's a media maven, owner of her own company, VJ Media, Vanessa James.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Morning, Sharks. Morning, morning. A little revved up and excited. I'm so excited to be here. You know, it's always exciting for Miami Broward Carnival. Obviously, everybody's getting in the mood. Everyone's flying down. I know a lot of people from New York were like, "Oh God, this weather." But it looks like the skies, the clouds have parted, and we're gonna have a good time today. So I couldn't think of a better way to kick it off. So thank you, Marlon, for inviting me to be a part of such a special event. And we have some royalty to my right. Marshall, Bunji, Ravi, you guys are here for an important reason today. First of all, let's talk about the Bushead Tour. Let's talk about it a little bit and exactly what that whole movement is all about.
Well, good morning to all. Thanks for coming out. And I must say, good morning to my colleagues. It's good to be in Miami Carnival doing something on this level. Bunji and I started out with this idea of the Bushead Tour because we thought it was important for us to work together as two, Caribbean icons in soca music. We thought the example of unity was important at a time like this, and this was about a year ago, maybe, before Carnival in Trinidad. But we always said to each other, when we work together, we've been talking about working together for quite some time. We always said when we work together, it doesn't necessarily have to be music. We always say it could be some sort of initiative in the community with young people, just to show them unity, even if it was a sneaker drive. We both love sneakers. But we heard a song which was, called Bushead. And the idea of this song was about the deep tradition of stick fighting. And, I've always wanted to mess with stick fighting as a warrior myself, somebody with a warrior spirit, and I wanted to find out what it was about. And we dove deeper into the idea of stick fighting in Trinidad and Tobago as somewhat of a martial art. But the story of stick fighting was that, of course, as slaves, we were afforded the opportunity to express ourselves and, parade and do our things during carnival time. And at one point in time, the Queen sent her men to shut down the slaves with the African drums. And there was this one stick fighter in the village called Joe Talmana, and he assembled an army of stick men to fight the great Steve Biko, who was on the great, I don't know his name, but a general, British captain. Yeah, John Biko or something. He was a general on a horse with his horsemen representing the Queen. And the stick fighters were able to fight them off the horses and really give ourselves the upper hand. And eventually they said, you know what, let them go ahead and have the carnival. So the stick fighting was really the basis of which we have carnival today, through struggle. And, we thought it was important because there's a rising statistic of violence in the Caribbean, especially among young men. And, we think it's sometimes not having the outlet or not having the discipline, like Kung Fu is a discipline, self-defense, but also of, proactive cause against being violent. So we thought that, learning this art of stick fighting would be nice and would be a good opening and an entry point for a discussion for young men to express themselves and find that deep sense of warrior spirit and know how to harness it and how to express it. The beat of the calendar rhythm is also important. The African drums, as Caribbean people, when we were taken from wherever we were taken, the drums was taken from us in the Caribbean because it was thought to be the thing that give us our power, give us our spirit. So we wanted to reintroduce a little bit of heritage, a little bit of history through music back into the modern sphere of things, back into the mainstream, as they say today. We thought it was important that we come out with something like this and we do it together and start our conversation.
Marshall, before I go to Bunji, let's get him a little flavor of what Marshall just described. Maybe someone can turn on the lights for us so we can get the context of what.
Tell them all the stink and dirty, stink and dirty. You free them, but run for your life. You free them, you see this, see this, see. You free them, but run for your life. You free them. We come out of busted. The blues they belting like they want to bust bed. No matter what they do, me I do come to them. We they get in like they want to come from it. So tell them come from it. Right now I'm feeling the tension, and there's too much to mention. They take up all my attention. Holy faith, holy faith. Everything you accuse it, every time you abuse it, but now you cannot refuse it. Holy faith, I was born in a village. I learned my upbringing, where I was forgiven. So I'm in tune with this thing. I was born as a warrior. The father was a state fighter. So why is that no pushover? Now we're fighting back. They come out of busted. The blues they belting like they want to busted. No matter what they do, me I do bound to them. We they get in like they want to come from it. So tell them come from it. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them who are confront with anywhere we go we friend. No man afraid no demon. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them who want to stop we tell them we don't friend no woman friend. No stick and friend no demon. I say holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to find them like we did to Salmana. Holy day, holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to find them like we did to Salmana. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All them bad mind people they don't try to stop it. See them with them big stick like they walk they bloody. Hit them with all the time on the stick and dirty, stick and dirty. Yes, they call me inhuman, descendant of the blue one. Yeah, and this is my dominion. Holy faith, I have made preparation. I have faced tribulation. This is my declaration. Holy faith, in the deep bush where I come from. Serpents and scorpions run when they see my right hand. Fearing them for destruction. Afraid of no man, and no boy, and no woman, no girl, and no thing. Give me to battle and fight for my life while I'm here with them singing. They come out of busted. The blues they belting like they want to busted. No matter what they do, me I do bound to them. We be getting on like they want to come from it. So tell them come from it. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them who are confront with anywhere we go we friend. No man afraid no demon. Tell them we don't friend nobody. All of them who want to stop we tell them we don't friend no woman friend. No stick and friend no demon. More. Come on. Back down. Back down. Back down. I say holy day, holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. Holy day, holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. Holy day, holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. Holy day, holy day, holy day, holy day. We go come out hard to fight them like we did to Salmana. We come out to busted. The blues they
Boss said, nice. Boss said, Kalinda, 100 more Bunji. 100 more. Bunji, how many, the young man who played Mr. Jimmy Mead, I think his name was, how many of those young men do you know, or anywhere that you, any country that you go to?
Countless, and it's amazing that there's so many young men, and in fact young women too, that have all this energy cooped up, and they have nowhere to dispense this energy, and it always comes out as a negative. And a lot of the people who have the opportunity to help them funnel and channel that and turn it into a positive, either get sidetracked or get blocked, or they themselves, off of just natural fear of not knowing what the outcome may be, in terms of trying to help someone like that or dealing with someone like that, they kind of just leave them alone, and you just see hordes and hordes of these young people they basically just go into waste. And we just need to, we weren't given all this strength and energy and power to just do nothing with it. We have to take it and put it in a place that we can help them be on track as well.
Here at Miami-Dade College, this college has the largest number of first generation college students. If you could give advice to your younger Bunji self, what advice would you say? What would you say to him?
If I was speaking to the younger Bunji self, well, first thing that I always like to tell them, you need to learn yourself, and you need to conquer yourself. It is even written in the Bible that, he who could conquer himself is greater than the man who could conquer 1,000 cities. Because that self-discipline is one of the most difficult things to overcome. Because we tend to want to give in to so much, impulses in life. And a lot of them tend to be destructive. So to really conquer that is one thing. And I would also tell them, believe in yourself, believe in what you do. You have to see yourself first before you allow anyone to see you. Because if you don't know where you are going, you can't expect anyone to have faith in your journey. So you have to know your journey, and people will then believe in your journey. And you have to know to yourself that your journey is as important as anyone else's journey on the earth. And you also have to respect everyone else's journey as it is yours.
Beautiful. Ravi, let's talk about the event tonight. Obviously, you and I were in the green room talking a little bit earlier about it.
Yes.
You seem, obviously very excited about it. Bushead saw it tonight, but the SOS party tonight obviously is for an amazing cause, because we know that so many Caribbean islands were affected that are not being covered in the news. We saw just a little trickle of coverage for St. Martin and Barbuda, which was destroyed, and they're saying the last time that Barbuda was completely empty was when the slave ships arrived 300 years ago. That's the last time that inhabitants were on Barbuda before it was completely empty, and that's exactly what happened 2 weeks ago. So I think it's just very important that we, as a Caribbean community, make sure that we continue to shed a light on the fact that, listen, once Anderson Cooper's not on the ground in your city or in your country, as much as I love him, news tends to go away. It's not covered as much. So big up to NPR for making sure to extend that coverage as well today too. But talk to us about the event tonight and why it's so important for us as a Caribbean community to make sure that we continue to support each other well past when the news news cameras are gone.
First of all, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and the event tonight is very important. I will say it's counted as the biggest event in Miami Carnival tonight. The Bushead Tour, it shows unity, and we're all coming together. I represent Chutney Soca music, which is also part of the Caribbean. And this event tonight being the start, so to speak, of Miami Carnival, I think it will have one of the biggest crowds there. I think it's the perfect spot, the perfect place to really send this message in our music language, so to speak, because earlier when we were discussing that after the hurricanes, the media, they stopped talking about what happened in the Caribbean with the hurricane. So we know, as Caribbean people, as artists, we have to use our musical language to try to reach out to everyone. And I must say thank you to SOS for giving us the opportunity to do so, and to remind everyone that the Caribbean, we still need we need some help. you know, a lot of help actually.
So, Mr. Ravi, those heads of states, of governments who said that they raised the price in the budget for hurricane relief, what would you say to them, Mr. Ravi?
Well, this is the time to raise awareness of what is happening in the Caribbean, and let us all come together. I mean, the government of the islands, all the governments, they really came together with CARICOM, and they're really trying to help out Trinidad and Tobago. I was watching the news, and they really contributed a lot. So the Caribbean is one and all. We are all working together to build it back, and we as I said, we are using our musical language, so to speak, tonight at this event to send a message, a very powerful message of unity. And of course, let's come together as one and build back the Caribbean.
You know, we're thankful for the U.S. Caribbean Strong Relief Fund, which you guys are contributing to in part. We just received news yesterday that the Knight Foundation is going to supersize the fund with $2.5 million to support Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. What a lot of people don't understand is not how much you give, it's the fact that you give. You know, and Bunji said earlier that we can't lean on the governments, we need to lean on ourselves. Bunji, could you expand that? You've had a few words in the green room on that, Bunji, on our self-sustainability.
Yeah, it has always been in my view that we come from a region where we basically could take care of ourselves, right? Somewhere along the line, a lot of us were taught to believe that we need to be dependent on dependence. And it in itself counteract the fact that we all have already gained independence. And what I was saying is that the thing about it is not that we don't need anyone else. That would be kind of arrogant to say. We all need each other. But at what point do we, as Masha said just now, at what point do we grow up and say, well, okay, I need to depend on me now, or we need to depend on us now as a people? Because we spend so many years depending on people from around the world that we kind of fail to look inward and realize that all this time past, where we could have developed ourselves into our own superpowers, where we probably could have been given assistance to, major communities around the world based on what we know. So what we find happening now is that we are being tested right now into how do we do this now with how the help that we would normally receive over the times going by, because they are now facing their own troubles and their own woes, right? So they may not always be able to run to our rescue. We now have to be able to run to our rescue, and we have seen that happening with this last series of the hurricanes and all these things, from Dominica to Antigua to Barbuda to St. Kitts to St. Thomas, Tortola, Puerto Rico, all these places, we basically know what it is. We have seen it over and over, but I think we are going through a renewal of new knowledge in terms of this, in the way we should do things. I think the way we approach it is not like how we approached it before. We are much more proactive now. We are more direct, and we are braver than before. We're not really, like, I'm doing this, I'm not sure. We're just doing it right now, and whatever the outcome is, we go again. That is the point we're at right now.
Is there a lesson from the stick fighting?
Yes, well, of course. It all ties into each other. It all ties into each other. As you saw in the video there, some people might have seen the video and just think it was probably like a movie flick with just fighting. Right. But the deeper depth in that was that this youth started off in one way, and his experiences made him into a positive force in the end. And the art, which is the calendar stick fighting, should be used as a tool, as a disciplinary tool, in terms of, when I say disciplinary, not me discipline you, but you discipline yourself using this tool.
And sometimes you need to get bust in your head, right?
Yeah.
Caribbean Strong, what does that mean to you?
What does Caribbean Strong mean to me? The Caribbean is such a beautiful place. It's like, walking into a grocery and having all the different flavors and all the different styles that you could choose from. I think the unity of the Caribbean, as Bunji said, self-sustainability. What got us here is not going to get us there. You know, the universe is always a growing place. And, you know, as the monk philosophy is, there's a movement of new knowledge occurring in all of us right now. I think we see a lot of financial trouble in the world today because we're fighting wars that costing us so much money, when we should really be, you know, building each other up with that money. And I think wars probably got us here, but it's not going to get us there. And, you know, the master has a way that he works in mysterious ways. He might send tragedy and we might think it's tragedy, but it's really a clean slate to start again.
33?
Definitely, you know, and I think, you know, I remember seeing on television the Puerto Rican mayor saying with almost tears in her eyes, we are Americans too.
Yes.
You know, and I think about Puerto Rico being, you know, on the brink of bankruptcy, if not bankrupt, because they are Americans too, but they also Puerto Ricans first. And I think, you know, I spoke to a lot of, well, not a lot, but one Puerto Rican at one time saying that, you know, they live so long considering themselves American, and something in them rise, you know, which is that Caribbean heritage, that new knowledge of self. You know, they want to experience this part of it. And you have to be careful what you ask for, because now you're going to know that you have to, you know, be your Caribbean self. And the Caribbean self is so deep. I remember a little island off of Puerto Rico called Vieques. I don't know if everybody know this, right? Vieques. And about 3 years ago, I started studying this island because the music of this island is actually calypso. You go there and you hear them singing tiny whiny, que la caroco, and they're singing it in Spanish. And I started studying them, and you know, I realized now Vieques is wiped out. Same way as Barbuda is wiped out. And you say 300 years ago it was empty. So now we have there's a reset. And this is about get strong in your Caribbean essence. Understand what we really here for. We were not British or French or Dutch or Spanish. You know, we were Amerindian, we were Mayan, we were Carib, we were Arawak. We were always these people. Now is our time to learn the real history. You know, not the Christopher Columbus history. You know, there's a time when a lot of our parents fight to bring us to the US to get better education. Well, now is the time for us to build better education in the Caribbean. So that is what Caribbean strong means to me. It means that we have an opportunity in the face of adversity to show our strength. And united is the best way for us to do it. You're not the United States, but we are the United Islands of the Caribbean now. And we are Caribbean first and foremost. So that's our strength.
Perfectly said.
Ravi? Any thoughts, Ravi? Hurricanes don't discriminate, irrespective of religion or language. Any thoughts on Caribbean strong?
Pardon me, what's that?
Hurricanes don't discriminate,
No.
irrespective of
definitely.
language. Yeah. hey. Caribbean strong, Ravi. What does that mean to you?
Well, basically, I think Marshall said it all. He can say it in any better way, man.
Yeah,
But that was a perfect statement there. Caribbean strong to me is really uniting as islands, you know, bringing our cultures together, bringing our music together, bringing our people together, and let's be part of the world together. Caribbean strong. Unity.
So listen, the students are here. Jordan and Cheryl, come on up. Give them a hand, presidents of the Tropical Beat CSA. You get first privilege to ask a question and to welcome everyone and say a few words, Jarrell and Jordan.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a little nervous, but I'm Jordan, as Mr. Martin said. I am president of Tropical Beat CSA.
And I am Joel Ramsey. I am historian of Tropical Beat, CSA.
Well, CSA stands for Caribbean Student Association. And each school, over 20 schools in Florida, have this association where we unify students of Caribbean and of Caribbean descent. And also we educate students that are not from the Caribbean. So my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada.
And me and my parents as well are from Trinidad and Tobago.
So my first question would be, our job is to be ambassadors for the Caribbean. So what are some ways that we can make more awareness of the Caribbean here on campus? Because we can only do so much. Like, we have a CSA week next week, and each day we dedicated a day to bring awareness. Like Monday, we're accepting donations for the islands that have been affected, and Tuesday we call it Can You Dance to a Tropical Beat, and we're teaching them different styles of dance. Each day has something. So do you have anything to give us that we can take back to the students to help them bring awareness?
Should I try? Thank you for doing such a wonderful job already. And I think it's important to tap on what Bunji was saying. Knowledge of self is most important. I think we have so much conflict and differences in this world today because we don't really know each other. And sometimes when you see something unknown, you get frightened. You fear the unknown. So it is your job, I feel, to, help people understand, and also not just seek to understand and seek to be understood, but seek to understand others. So I like to think about this exchange continuum, that I like to think about a round table, and you put a Grenadian, and you put a Jamaican, and you put a Vincentian, and you put a Trini, and you put a Puerto Rican, and you put, and you let them express themselves. I mean, we have been brought up to fly our own flag, fly our colors, defend the green and the yellow and the red. People like you probably confused. You have green, yellow, red, white, black. You don't know what sometimes your mother telling you over here, girl, is jab, and your father say, no, girl, is pan and soca. Sometimes a lot of us walk into a form and they ask you your race. White, black, other. And you are Douglas. And you don't know what to tick off. These kind of situations. So I like to think about the round table. This is what you should do in the next thing. Put the Grenadian, put the Vincentian, put the thing. What is your favorite food? My favorite food is pilau. I come from Trinidad. Pilau is, right? Chicken, rice, and peas.
I like
Or
doubles.
beef, rice, and peas.
Doubles.
Okay, but think about, let me stay with the pilau for a minute. I like doubles too. And that's one of the best things about Trinidad. The Africans like the Indian food and the Indian like the African food. We kind of accept each other. We cross the lines. That's the difference between us and the United States. You will see little Korea over here and little Italy. Everybody like little Haiti, little Cuba. Everybody like to pull in their own corner. In these islands, it's no corner to pull in. So if you sit down at the Trini like pilau, and you go over by the Jamaican like jerk chicken and rice and peas. All right, you go by the Guyanese. The Guyanese like cook up, which is chicken, rice, and peas, basically. In the Puerto Rican or the Cuban, they have arroz con pollo. So then when you start to fly your own flag and you watch on the table, everybody have a unique way of the same thing. If you put the ingredients in the middle, it's chicken, rice, and peas. So then now, when you start to go around the table and talk about your fashion, or you talk about your kind of drums, or you talk about your kind of music, you will feel proud to describe the differences, but somehow you will start to laugh when you realize the similarities. And spending time expressing yourself, teaching each other about each other, is really a mirror. Will start to mirror, and you'll realize you could bring the world closer together. You'll bring each other closer together by understanding. We really related. We really won. All of we like chicken, rice, and peas. So try that exercise and try it over and over with different themes: food, fashion, music, and go on and hear everybody, like Bunji say. Listen to everybody, learn everybody on, accept everybody on. You go into a Grenadian house, let the Grenadian go in the Vincentian house, let the Trini go in the Bajan house, and just see that it's really not that different, and we don't really have to fight who could walk up the best. Who could whine the lowest? You know what I mean? It's really about, hey, we all do the same thing differently, but it brings us closer together when we work at these similarities. Cool?
Yes. I'm glad that you said that as my friend from Pangaea, the president of Pangaea, just walked in, because our club is also based on different cultures around the world. So that's a good exercise for us as well. I'm also the historian for them as well. I'm also the president for Creative Crowd. So my question is based on music. Also, being someone from Trinidad, is based on Trinidad music. What are your thoughts on the creative part of the budget where music is concerned for Trinidad?
I put a number mic for this one.
We should let the budget, man. Listen, it's simple. It really simple. We live in Trinidad and Tobago for a long time. As like to say, playing big tonto scaramucci. You know, we playing we out and bad because we have oil.
Right.
And guess what? The oil done. The oil price gone down for a long time. And what else we have to turn to? I had a book I wrote called Boy Boy and the Magic Drum. And I wanted to start a conversation with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds about what it means to be Trini, because we created the steel drum. And guess how we created this? We take dirty oil drums and we shine them up and we pump them and we make musical instruments with symphonies, the greatest instrument to be created in the 21st century. So, really and truly, when you look at pan in today, you will see a doctor standing next to a roti vendor, next to a doubles man, next to a taxi driver, and they all playing pan. None of them musically trained, but they love this thing so much that their memory alone and their intelligence and their human being have them looking like any Philharmonic orchestra in the world. So guess what? I say it's time for the budget to really allocate more money to steel pan, to chutney, which is tassa, to stick fighting, to the things, calendar music, to the things that will give people another outlet. Because listen, not everybody again going to be a doctor, lawyer, policeman, fireman. No, we have videographers, we have social mediaists, we have, people, graphic designers, we have people who want to make beats, producers, we have entertainers. There's a difference between just always growing up trying to be the same thing. The world is changing. The economics is changing. And it's changing just like how the universe wanted to, because the universe steering us in a direction of progress, creativity and progress. So you might feel it might be challenging. You might look at the economy and say, Lord, I don't know, but it's just an opportunity to find new ways. And music, entertainment, social behavior, and social interaction is the future for jobs. So look at that way, And even the doctors going into holistic medicine and alternative medicine. So know your jungle, know your bush tea, know your plants from your island. You know what I mean? Look to the future and be smart youths, because guess what? Your main job when we go on this generation with degrees is to save the planet. And you have to learn that you're not living on the planet. You're living with the planet in a system that's going way up into the sky and way down into the core. Have life. So don't feel that you could just pour oil into the river and nothing will happen. Or you could just keep sucking oil out of the ground and it will destabilize the earth and cause earthquakes. Or you could just spray pollution because you want to be up 24 hours a day making money. You don't want to go and sleep. You don't want to follow the circadian rhythms and night and day and rest and be in one with nature. Listen, we from the Caribbean too. So we know about bush and we know about jungle and we know about nature. Look at Dominica. I just went to Dominica a few days ago and 100-year-old trees in the botanical gardens is no more. If I was a Dominican and I feel like I lose my 100-year-old tree in the botanical garden, I feel like I lose everything. But guess what? Trees are strong and grass growing back already. And God say, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end, and it has no end, is life everlasting, so it's coming again. So study these things as where you're from and what our role is to save the planet going forward. Respect?
Okay. Thank you.
Amazing.
On behalf of Tropical Beat and Miami-Dade, I want to thank you for coming to our campus.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
33. 33rd annual Miami Carnival, coincidentally, right? You're here to perform the last stop on the Busset tour, came together earlier this year. Talk to us about what you're feeling about everything else that's going on in the world. Just kind of give us some closing remarks before we close up as to...
1, 2, 3. 3, 3, 3. Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The Father is the creator. We are the sons and daughters, which is the son. So there's a sonship, meaning that we have the ability to create like the Father. We can't make a human being, but we could come together and create a human being. And guess what? That thing that brings us together, the Holy Spirit, is that thing I can't really see. Is that knowledge of the fact that we are one. So 3 is the age Christ died at. I could go on and on about numbers. But numbers is not the real thing. You know? Sometimes the Trinity understanding that me, you, and something higher than us is working together. Where two or more are gathered in thy name, there too shall I be. So no, whatever you want to believe in, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, otherwise, no, the element is togetherness. And then it will bring you to that oneness. First you'll study togetherness, and when you study togetherness long enough, you will just elevate and know it's a oneness. You can't watch nobody and point a finger and say, they and them don't do this the way, because every time you point at one finger, 3 pointing back at you, there is no separation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Bunji, closing thoughts on being here this weekend and getting ready for 2018?
But first of all, again, thanks for having us here this morning. We look forward to not only tonight, but this whole weekend, this annual gathering of the Caribbeans, as I like to view it. I would just like to say to what the young lady asked earlier on just now there, in terms of what are our thoughts in terms of what they should do, in terms of the pushing the concept that the Caribbean exists. And I think one of the key things that we all need to remember is we cannot apologize for being who we are. We are who we are as a people, and many of us who left the Caribbean, who emigrated, we always left home with this thing that when you go up, wherever you go around the world, almost like put yourself last, give everybody their respect first and put yourself last. While that is well and good, you don't lose yourself in the process, and you don't be ashamed of yourself in the process, because that is how it always translated to us, as though we are inferior too. None of us are inferior to each other. None of us are superior to each other. We are each other, right? And that is how we meet and that's how we greet. And when we go there, wherever in the world, we cannot apologize. If I'm Trinidadian, if you are Dominican, if you are Puerto Rican, you are American, you Canadian, you cannot apologize for who you are because of I might be scared of your view. Your view is your view, no problem with that. Your view doesn't stop my inhale, exhale, right? Unless God allows it to, right? And I would like to reference my Jamaican counterparts where that is concerned. I have many friends from Jamaica, as well as Marshall, as well as Ravi. I have not met a single Jamaican in my life who ever had to apologize for who they was as people. Whether you like them or not, I'm Jamaican and that's it, and you take that or you leave it, right?
So proud.
And that's just the philosophy that make them stand out in this world. And we all as a Caribbean people need to adopt that. We need to remember, we need to have that same attitude. Whether they like how we cook, as Marshall was saying, we love the pale, whether they like how we cook, we dance, we talk, we sing. I'm a Trinidadian and that's just it. You Grenadian and that's just it. And you have to live with that, right? We cannot apologize for who we are. And in reference to what the young man asked in terms of the Trinidad and Tobago government with the new budget in terms of allocation to funds to arts and things like that. These things, as we may not see it being, how it should be, but I always see these things as the pressure on the rock to form the diamond. Because every time that the community, the artistic community, fail to make noise about it, the government may see it as an opportunity to take advantage of the situation by diminishing more. When that constant diminishing happens, what is going to happen out of that is that fighters and warriors are going to come out of that. Someone is going to rise up and say, enough is enough. This is not making sense. Because we come from a region where the leaders still are not in touch with the arts and entertainment sector of what we do. We're still seen as, the court just to hire, if we have a forum, just bring 2 artists and let us sing in the meantime as entertainment.
Yeah, very true.
Right? And we still yet to overcome that hurdle as the US has overcome that. Even Jamaica has overcome that as an extent. From outside looking in, if you're not from Jamaica, it seems as though they have all the support from government bodies. And when you talk to a lot of the artists, you realize it's something different. They had to dig into their own selves and find themselves. And they are now the songs that represent not only their country, but a lot of the Caribbean as well. But they had to do it with it. So it all comes back into what I was saying earlier on. We all need to start to learn to lean on ourselves and build from the beginning.
Minister of Finance, Ravi B. Closing remarks.
Well, it's Miami Carnival weekend, and I hope you all enjoy the weekend, and let's do what we do best for Carnival. And don't forget tonight, SOS, Marshall, Bunji, myself, Ravi B. And let's have a safe, a positive, and happy Carnival 33 in Miami. Thank you, guys.
President Malu Harrison, some closing thoughts. President of the college, Miami-Dade.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you to our guests here, Ravi, Bunji, Marshall, and my sister in here. And you've given us a whole lot to think about and to ponder on and to move forward in action. And just very grateful that we have our students here today. And you know, Miami-Dade College is the most diverse college in the United States. And in every single classroom and out of the classroom at our 8 campuses, you will find students from every single region of the world, every single continent. And so we're a huge positive example of what coming together and unity really means for positivity. And I'm so happy that you are here today. I wish you well this weekend, tonight, at the SOS event and in the Carnival events. And again, we need to come together. And one of the main reasons that we're here today is for the Caribbean, those that have been affected and will be affected for months and perhaps years to come. And so we may have these relief efforts this month, but they need to continue. We cannot forget. And that's one of the main reasons that we're here today. And I'm so happy to see so many of our students and our Tropical Beat student organization in particular taking up the baton and truly making sure that we can make a difference in the lives of those who were affected. So thank you again. Welcome to Miami-Dade College. Pleasure having you.
So Marshall and Bunji brought some gifts. So the students who are here, who stayed, and were paying very close attention with some giveaways, right? So the name of the martial art form from Trinidad and Tobago is? What's the actual name? No. You got it? There you go. Okay. What year is it for Miami Carnival? Wait. What other quiz we have for them? Give me 5 countries that were impacted by the hurricane. Stand up. Stand up, introduce yourself.
5 seconds.
Puerto Rico. Uh-huh. Shh. Shh. Uh-huh. Marshall, you get to give away the last. Boss said, last trivia. You are the professor.
Yes.
All right, who could tell us 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5 places that the bus head tour went to?
Woo. Shh.
Who gonna try? Who gonna try? Nah, you can't try it. I need somebody else.
Watch it. No, watch technology.
Then Google.
You can't get Wi-Fi access. Lock off.
One more. I'll give you a hint. Huh? Done.
Excellent.
This from Barbados in the Caribbean.
Excellent. Everyone, listen. We're about to go to sound check for the last stop on the bus head tour. Tickets are available on Eventbrite, SOS International. Please, it's going to be at Man on Wynwood. Please support this event. You'll be supporting the relief efforts in the Caribbean as well. Please be safe as well. You can get more information at miamibroadcarnival.com for all the events that are happening this weekend. And for all the students, you may not think that you can give to the relief fund, but anything more than 0 is a contribution. It's very, very important that you understand this. If you're old enough to have a debit card and to buy from the snack shop downstairs, you can go to give.miamifoundation.org/Caribbean. Give $5, give $2. It's the amount, is the fact that you give, not the amount. So one of the things that you can do for your CSA week this week is to ensure that every student either gives $1, 2 cans of whatever, or sanitary kit for the ladies, or voluntary time.
Yep.
It's very, very important that you understand the fact that you need to just be present, present in whatever form you have.
And don't stop giving, because the needs will be there 3 months, 6 months, a year. You know, that tree, it's starting from scratch, but it'll grow back again. But again, especially the islands that you don't necessarily hear about. There's so much coverage right now for Puerto Rico, which we love our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, and they have a great need. But also St. Croix won't have lights until December. BVI won't have lights until January.
Yeah.
You know, St. Martin won't have lights.
I think another exercise for the Tropical Beat team
Yeah.
is to actually identify all the islands properly that were really affected,
Right.
and try to just educate people about these islands. You know, what were the things about these islands, the size, the population, how badly it was affected. So
Right.
it could have an ongoing presence and awareness and understanding that we have to just stay with them for a long time and keep building. You know, let's
keep
put
the
100
giving
years
going.
into the trees.
Yeah,
Let's put 100
man.
years into
Yeah.
the trees.
Let's keep giving, and let's keep traveling and supporting the Caribbean as well.